Welcome to the Story Field. This is Josh Allen, and I'm joined by Micah Petrie. This is a podcast created and sponsored by the Allen Firm. At the Allen Firm, we think there are too many unknowns in life's legal situations. The Allen Firm provides legal guidance so you can make a great decision, come to a resolution, and be at peace. For more information about the Allen Firm, visit allenlawfirm.com. Well, we think you will agree that life is complex, business is hard, and living a life of faith can feel complicated. You're in the right place today to hear some great stories of normal people just like us who will inspire you to move forward in life. Thank you for joining us today. We know you're going to be encouraged. Hey, Storyfield. Well, today is a special episode for us and me because we get to do our first, what I'm going to call mini cast. So for this episode, we're going to try to do something a little different in that we're going to keep it short and that we're going to make it on a specific topic in hopes of somebody listening will be able to completely change and win and maybe receive some encouragement in their business based on today's topic. But first, let me welcome, my friend and somebody I really consider a brilliant business guy, Lee Ellis. So Lee, thanks for making time today. Welcome to the Story Field.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here today. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm honored.
Bet. Well, so Lee, we will get started, but I want you to first introduce yourself and the businesses that you have founded with Craig Couch, who, as our listeners will know, was actually our very first podcast guest. So Craig was grateful enough to let me experiment on him. So y'all can go back and look at episode 1. That was Craig. So, but introduce yourself, Lee, and then we'll get into the topic.
Yeah, so I'm a partner with Craig, and we started our real estate company 20 years ago. Later this year we'll be in our 21st year, and kind of started on the back of a napkin at the Paris coffee shop. And we both had been in retail forever, and that wasn't working out. And we decided that we wanted to exit retail and go into real estate, and had read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and the rest is kind of history with that. So you fast forward 20 years, and we've got we have several companies. We have 3 main companies. One, which is our portfolio company, where we do a lot of owner financing and buying homes, remodeling them, building homes from scratch in infield lots and in big developments. And then we have our real estate brokerage, where we have a whole bunch of real estate agents that's Indwell Real Estate that are out there selling homes for families and helping them buy homes. And we also have Merit Mortgage, which is our retail-facing mortgage company that provides mortgages to anybody on the street. So they all kind of intertwine with each other and help each other, and there's a lot of synergy there. And that's pretty much what we have going on. It's a full-time deal.
Yeah, and tell everybody where you guys are located.
Well, we're here in Fort Worth, Texas,
Okay.
And our office is over off of Vickery, kind of in the center part of Fort Worth.
Okay. And then what kind of, just a little bit on the real estate company, what kind of volume do you guys do as far as just give us a little bit of, if I can brag on y'all or brag, what are we looking at as far as a business size? You don't have to give us exacts, but just give us a little bit of framework.
Right. Well, we've easily, and when I say sell, it doesn't mean that we sold a house like a real estate agent would sell a house. It means like we bought a house, or built a house, and then we went through the process of finding a buyer, underwriting that buyer, getting them in the home, and servicing the note, making a note for them and all that. So well over 1,000 of those since we've been in business. And and even during the recessions and the downturns in 2007 and all that, we had growth years during that time. That's not to say that everything's perfect, especially right now. Things are the Wild West out there, but it's we've got a pretty big portfolio right now. There's hundreds of notes in it, and we're down in Houston now. We're in West Texas. Just started that last year, and just real excited about the opportunities to keep growing and keep our mission alive.
Okay, well, I wanted people to know, because we're not talking about somebody like me who might do like one house. We're so this is 20 years in the trenches.
Yeah,
okay, so thanks for making time. So I want to talk about 2 major roles that you, I think, understand more than anybody I know in a business, and those roles being the visionary role and the integrator role. So, and then what are some common work titles? How would people know those two people as defined, in the world's eyes?
Right. Well, if you think of a chain of command in your company, you think of the people kind of at the top. Those are your leaders. Those are the ones that are setting the direction of the company, and and they're the leaders and the managers of the company. And typically, um, one of them needs to be a visionary. The other one needs to be an integrator. A lot of times, those can be owners of the company. Like in my situation, I'm an owner. Craig's an owner, and we're both. I'm the integrator. He's the visionary, and I'll get into that in a minute. But we're both owners, which makes it a little bit easier. I mean, there are a lot of challenges with this, but it makes it easier because we both own the company. But when you have an owner, just a single owner, that's one of the two, and he needs to bring in somebody else to be that opposite person. It makes it challenging because that opposite person is an employee. So it works, it can work, but that's kind of that's where the people are located. If you're thinking of an organizational chart, they're pretty
Okay.
much at the top of leadership.
Are most owners probably visionaries? And when we say visionary, are we thinking kind of like a CEO,
Yes,
that typical
visionaries, I
role?
would say, and no, not CEO per se.
Okay.
CEO is a little more, um, um, how can I say this without making the visionary sound like a,
Yeah, you're an integrator, so we understand where you're coming from.
yeah. So, well, and Craig would get this. The CEO and the CFO, they're pretty hardwired for a lot of data processing, and they're in the trenches. The visionary, his hair's on fire, and he wants to be out doing visionary type of stuff where he's out in the field, he's shaking hands, he's making things happen. You know,
Okay, so you guys have kind of put those common titles maybe aside, and let's just talk in terms of visionary role and integrator role. Okay,
right? Not to
I'm
say
with
we
you.
don't have C-level people. We do have C-level people. And with an integrator and a visionary, you would want to eventually a CEO, a CFO, and a COO, and all of that in your company.
Okay.
Once you get to that size, then you have your middle management layer as well.
Okay, but
And
for today's, you need two major roles in your business.
yeah. And
Okay.
sometimes you have to wear a couple hats. Craig and I have always been these two roles, but we've also done everything before. So as your company grows up and you're big enough where you can bring in the middle management, then bring in C-level, your role as integrator and visionary become so important, and you can really thrive and shine when you get to that place because you're able to really do it all the time versus, and I call it working on the business, not working in the business as much. And when you're stuck in the business, you're missing out on a whole lot of things going on around you, and it allows you just to get on top of it and see it better and make a bigger impact on it. But
Okay,
yeah,
well,
that takes time.
define, yeah, that makes sense. Well, define them for us.
All
Define
right,
them and let's
so
get into it.
yeah, so I kind of got 4 points of just kind of what it's all about. And I just want everybody to think about this visual. Think of, a quarterback and a center on a football team, and what happens if you don't have one of them. And that's really what happens to your team if you're missing one of those two players. It sounds kind of corny, but I mean it's really what it is. So you've got to have both of them. They're essential to the business. You're missing half the opportunity to be a thriving company or an underachieving company, if you don't have the people, um, have those people in place. There's not a hard and fast mold for either position. People might say, okay, how do I figure out who I am or what I am? And there's guidelines, but everybody's made up differently. So there's not a hard, fast rule for who you are. And it takes time to kind of figure out. I mean, you can initially figure out who you are. Craig and I knew from day one we were oil and water in the way we approached things, but the way we saw things and the way we saw our mission and through our faith and all that, we were lined up. Our filter was solid, but we both approached everything differently. We knew that from day one. We didn't know what to do with it yet. But
Yeah.
we were like, this is cool. We're kind of pulled together as a magnet. And we're kind of scratching our heads as how is this even working when we're both like completely want to go this way and that way. But it was our mission that held us together all
Yeah,
those
you're
years.
aligned in mission, but you just approach things completely differently.
Right. Yeah,
That's
big
good.
time. Big time. So I think, once you got to figure out who you are first. That's the first key. Figure out who you are. most of the time you're going to be polar opposites. You're going to want that. I mean, because a visionary and an integrator are different. You can't have two integrators running the company or two visionaries running the company, because you're missing out again on half the thing. So I would say, there's a lot of ways to figure out who you are. Some companies really believe a lot into doing personality profiles and things like Enneagram or Culture Index or whatever it might be. And even some of the books that you can get on being an integrator. Rocket Fuel is a book that by Gino Wickman that talks about that whole concept. I mean, there's guides through that book that'll help you take a little test and figure out kind of where you land.
Yeah, I think that's where I first heard about the two roles, and
Mm-hmm.
then and took a little test, me and some people here, and it was pretty clear. It was
Right.
pretty shockingly clear, like, oh, that's
Yeah,
two
yeah,
people, two different
yeah,
people too. Okay.
yeah, for sure. So one of the interesting things that happen. So first is know who you are, and then two is to have total buy-in. You both got to buy into doing it, because there's a lot of, especially if you're entrepreneurial, there's a lot of factors that can play that can derail this from a relational perspective and an emotional perspective, because you've got to be transparent, you've got to be vulnerable, you've got to kind of be selfless and let your partner help you do your job even better and all that. And it was difficult for me at first, and I won't lie, it was, because I see myself as a visionary too, and I am as an entrepreneur. I've got a lot of, I'm not like hardcore integrator that's got my head down totally focused on dotting I's and crossing T's and all that. I'm very excited, creative. I'm a creative person, and I love visionary concepts. Now, am I a true visionary like Craig? No. I mean, look up visionary dictionary, his picture's there. He is the visionary of all visionaries. Never seen anything like it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I
Well,
can attest. I can attest to that.
yeah,
Like, it's hard for me to call myself a visionary when he's around. Like,
yeah. I mean, he's all over the place in a good way. It's just amazing. So, knowing who you are, and then once you have buy-in to that, then you start the process of, okay, how are we going to do this together? And for Craig and I, it took a while. I mean, we'd already been in business 15 years or more and had our patterns established and had our way of doing things. And now we were committing to kind of blowing it up and starting over and letting each other do our thing and have check-in points and have accountability with each other and all that. But so the third thing is, what's the role? What are the roles of the integrator and the visionary? And I can give you kind of just basically like a one sentence definition of each one, and
yeah,
then
let's
I'll
do
go into
that.
a little bit of detail. So
Yeah, please.
the,
Yeah.
the integrator is the guy that pretty much he's got more brake than gas at times. He's wanting to aim the gun for just a minute or two before he fires it. He's not going to just fire and then aim. You know what I'm saying? So that's how he rolls. The visionary is kind of like a rocket with no fins. It's full of energy. It's out there, and it's just like 100 ideas a day. Two are good maybe, and but exploring everything that could possibly be explored. So that's it. So it's like you got these two really polar people that are really good at what they do, but by themselves they're a disaster almost.
Oh yeah, and I'm just thinking when you talk about that, like, and then put them in business together, be like, have fun. We don't know any of this, but good luck,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, it's like
It's
put them in
challenging.
a closed room, a door closed, and to see what they do. See if they can come out alive.
Yeah.
They're going to argue about
This
everything.
this is why I'm
Um,
thinking you're going to help people today. Keep going.
yeah, so it's again, it goes back to that. For us, it goes back to our mission and our faith and what we had been through for so many years, the ups and downs, and just knowing that, hey, we survived all this stuff. And so again, it goes back to committing to it, buying into this process. It's like a marriage. You gotta, I mean, Craig and I've been to therapy before, literally, to work on each other and our relationship so that we can do these things. And you got to put a lot of work into it, just like you need to put a lot of work into your marriage, because this is kind of what it's like. whether it's a partnership or just an employee that's going to fill one of these roles, you got to do it. So, getting into a little bit more detail about the roles, the integrator, what I do, I'm kind of like the glue of the company. I have this innate ability to see everything, I can feel things going on. I'm always paying attention to stuff, and keeping the thing moving. I'm a steady force and a steady cadence of the operation of the business, keeping it moving, keeping it
And
going.
being present too.
Yeah, being
Okay.
present, being a voice. I'm a steady force of accountability. I'm that guy, which is frustrating sometimes because you don't want to be that guy all the time. You want to be liked. And I'm not saying that I rule with an iron fist, but there's accountability that has to be had. And I'll also plug the whole entrepreneurial operating system, or traction tools, which was Gino's next set of books that he did, that we've adopted and we've implemented. And without that, it would have been 100% harder for Craig and I to have really implemented our 2 new roles like we have. Because for me, especially as the integrator, the accountability piece, and with what traction tools offers, I let traction tools do that work. I don't have to be the bad guy, and you can't hide from the system if you have it in place. It's a wonderful thing. So the other thing is, the key thing is, I'm a partner to the visionary. I'm his partner. I'm there for him. I'm there to help him. I'm there to help him get where he wants to go. And that's also
And
what he is to me.
you like an integrator who just has kind of that bent and wiring would like that. I
Yes.
mean, that would be something enjoyable, like to be that to
Mhm.
help somebody realize like their vision and dream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's
Okay.
for sure, especially when obviously it's the same, because, I just, as an example, I'm more of an inside partner. Craig's an outside partner. So he loves the social stuff and being out with people and doing all that, where I'm a little more introverted and don't, I can do it, but I've got a limit, when I'm like, okay, that's enough of that. And Craig has no limit for that. So we have a vision, and part of that vision requires being active out in the community. Well, I know he's going to go do it. I want to support him to go do that. And I'm going to be so happy he's doing it.
And he would not want to be at the office and really introverted and all that either. So it's just
Yeah,
really a good fit.
right. And systems and, operational stuff and whatnot. And some of just I guess, it's not really a baton passing thing. I don't want people to think it's that, where there's a vision, then a baton's passed to someone to make it happen. That's not what it is. There's a vision, and then there's an ongoing level of participation in that vision from there on out. And then an integrator is there to help get that vision going, but also redirect the vision, because the vision will have rough edges on it. And it may be great for a minute, but then it might not be so great. And you've got to go in and tweak it and make adjustments to it. So the integrator is helping the visionary, and then the other way around, so it's just a magical thing. So the visionary is kind of the big picture guy, full of ideas. I mean, Craig, I mean, he's done more hobbies and got more ideas than anyone I've ever known in my life. And it's been beautiful watching that for 20 something years, all the different things that he gets into, because when he's doing all that, he's learning and he's gaining experience and he's becoming wise and all those things that we need. So the visionary sees the future. They're constant. They just have this innate ability. Like I can feel what's going on in the company without even being there. I just have this ability. It's weird. I can feel it. Well, he has this mental capacity of being able to see out in the future and go, okay, here's what I think's about to happen. Here's maybe some pivots we should make or some new things we should do. He's a big problem solver. It's something which sounds kind of funny for a visionary, to be someone that, okay, I'm going to roll my sleeves up and I'm going to solve a problem, but that's what they do. They're not, a lot of visionaries are like, I want somebody else, an operations manager, to go figure that mess out. I don't want to do that. I want to go chase the next cool idea. They're not. A true visionary is someone that like gets excited about something that just broke, that's real big, or solving an issue. Like, hey, we need we need to reinvent part of our company. He's going to be the guy that's excited to do it. And then he's the partner to me. He helps me get my job done too. And we check in with each other all the time to make sure, what can I do to serve you? What can I do to serve you to get it done? And at the end of the day, my fourth point, or my fourth question is, it's a question of, do you want to be underachieving or thriving? What do you want? Do you want to butt heads with a guy or a girl all the time about your, and not, not be selfless and just let other people help and have a word and have a place in the company?
I mean, it's just this battle to learn this and implement it. So where does somebody start? I mean, after hearing this, you think you can identify more maybe with one role than the other, and look around you and see who's serving in the other one, and just even the dialogue about it is helpful.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're a book reader, it's real simple. I mean, you read Rocket Fuel, you read Traction Tools, you read about the EOS system, which is Entrepreneurial Operating System. They've even got a book that's really thin. You can read it in a day. It's like a EOS for Dummies book.
perfect.
That gives you the basics, and then you can go back in. I mean, my books are so tattered. I've been through those things and highlighted. It's like my Bible. I mean,
Yeah,
it is.
perfect.
I mean, I know nobody can see this, but look at this thing. It's just, and I've gone in and just gone crazy in this book.
Oh yeah,
I refer back to it constantly. And we're not purists. We don't follow it perfectly. And that's okay. But and we have a coach that helps us implement it. I would say that is, I'm glad I just thought of that. That is so important. Craig and I thought we could implement this on our own and go into having big meetings with our leadership team and launch this. And we quickly realized that this is sensitive. It's kind of a big deal. We need somebody that's a pro at leading this launch, and we do it once a quarter. It's not super expensive. It's not cheap, but it's worth every penny to have a coach get this thing launched in. So, read those books. I'm sure you could Google stuff online and read shorter versions of what it's all about. But
like, is there like a business size that this kicks in to become relevant, or just knowing this even from kind of the ground floor would be helpful?
day one,
Yeah.
I think you needed day one. Craig and I, when we first started, we were just two guys riding around together, doing everything together. And immediately we knew, kind of without even saying it, what we both kind of gravitated to, what we felt like we liked doing and what we were good at. And we naturally, without even really talking about it, sort of, okay, I'll do that part. Okay, I'll do that part. And it just started happening. But at some point, you need to clearly define what it is. And then as people come in, if you build your company up, they know who's doing what, and it just kind of goes from there.
So a few more minutes, Lee. Thank you. This is super helpful. What what are some of the bigger challenges that they might face in just kind of getting those roles defined and starting to operate within them? What are some of the bigger things that you've seen that just kind of cause friction, that because I want them to know it's normal. I want people to know,
Yeah,
like, this is normal and here's how you kind of navigated it.
yeah, it's really, really normal. It's not easy. If it is easy for you, bless you. You've been fortunate. It's just not easy because you're taking two differently wired people and you're putting them together. But if you think about any relationship, a marriage relationship, for example, 9 times out of 10, the wife and the husband are different people anyway, right? That's just the way God pulls us together. So it's the same thing in business. So think of it that way. Think of, are you dedicated to your vision and your mission? And if you are, you're gonna put the work in. So it is challenging at first to, I mean, it'll have its moments. There'll be a honeymoon phase, and then you'll have the moment, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, you'll have the moment of, okay, I don't agree with that, or I don't want to do that. That's too bad. So what do you do? So we've already had those, right? So I've got, again, your viewers can't see this, but I have this chart that I drew it's got like here's the company right here in a box, and then you have this big fence out here. This is Craig's playground. He can go this far.
Okay.
He's allowed to go way out here and do stuff. But the minute he goes outside, I can say, Craig, too far, come
That's
back in.
perfect.
And if he's out here, come back in and tell us why you're out there, and let's work it out. And he agrees to that. He understands it. He likes it. He likes
That,
that.
I was about to say that's so helpful because it's like once you know like the boundaries that I need to play within. I
Mhm.
mean, and that might be the rub, just kind of getting to the boundaries. But once you get there, it's like safety. It's like freedom.
It is. It really is, because you can do your thing in those boundaries, and you're not going to be second guessing yourself, or is he going to be upset I'm working over here on this, project. And then having a cadence of weekly, um, this is a much deeper topic, and you can learn about it through traction tools. But having a weekly meeting where you've got accountability and you're checking in, you're on the same page is key. It's a priority. You got to do it, even
So
if you don't
really
have to do it.
start meeting two weekly, start defining the boundaries and the keys, and just know it's like a marriage because it
Mhm.
really kind of is.
Yeah, sure.
And then okay, yeah. Any other tips or advice, Lee?
Stick with it. Yeah, that's
Okay,
probably it. Stick with it, and you'll see fruit. You will. You'll see things that will just make your heart happy. That,
okay,
especially if you've had ups and downs with with the relationship, and or if you're an owner that's going to have to hire out one of the other two things, you know, stick with it. Don't get frustrated and let that person go because you don't think it's the right fit, because it might be the perfect fit and you're being stubborn about it.
yeah. And I can speak to that. I mean, for having somebody, we've done some of this here. I mean, having somebody speak to me, and that has been so helpful. It hurts. It's
Yeah,
hard, but it's so helpful and such a blessing to have that person in that other role in there saying,
yeah,
"Stop, like wait," or
yeah, for
Uh,
sure. For sure.
So, can people? What's the best way to learn about Indwell? Connect with you guys? What if they have questions for you, Lee? Is there a can they give your company a call or shoot you an email? What's a good way to
Yeah,
contact you?
sure. Whatever's easiest, whatever they like to do. Text, email,
Okay,
phone call.
so Indwell, what's the Indwell website?
Well, the easiest thing is I'll just have them email me.
Okay, perfect.
So
So
yeah,
tell us your email and I'll link it up too.
okay. Lee at indwellrealestate.com.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to do that. And then, yeah, and then we can go from there.
Okay. Well, I'm so grateful you made time. Thanks for just at least maybe the win will be for listeners that they just open their eyes to know like this is two different people, two different roles.
Mhm.
Both are extremely vital and 100% vital and a blessing to the business. And if you can identify them, if you can start working on the clarity between the two, setting boundaries and accountability, then it'll be a huge blessing. And then just stick with it.
Yeah,
Stick with it.
yeah, and you'll do things you never thought you could do. It'll 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 be a big blessing to your company.
Mm. Well, thanks, Lee. Thank you for making time
Yeah,
today.
thank you. I appreciate it. It's awesome.
Bless you guys.
All right, thank you so much.
Me and Josh would like to thank you for joining us in the Storyfield today. We hope you've enjoyed our discussion, and to learn more about us and the Storyfield, visit thestoryfield.com. This podcast is sponsored by the Allen Firm, legal guides for many of life's situations. To learn more about the Allen Firm, visit allenlawfirm.com. Have a blessed day, week, and year, and we will see you next time on the Storyfield.
Just wanted to thank you for listening and let you know that this podcast is really about hope and about giving you hope for your life. So if you're listening and you're in a place where you're really feeling hopeless right now, or if you do not know Jesus, we have some great news to share with you and would love a chance to pray for you. Email us at hope@allenlawfirm.com. That's hope@allenlawfirm.com, and we'll reach out to you soon. Thank you for listening. God bless you.